Yo, what's up, everybody? It is Wednesday, August 28th. How's everybody doing? So the market was down. Hey, they came out with Nvidia's earnings. Let me just say right off the bat, I don't pay attention to these earnings reports, and I even saw some commentary online that, this is the most important event in the entire global economy. I mean, it's absolutely ludicrous that they can talk this way, that you're literally talking about one company in the global economy, which is this massive, complex system with so many different variables that create the basic conditions of the global economy. That literally what this is, again, this is just kind of like oversimplification to the max. This is trying to get people to think that there's only one specific little thing that you have to think about, and that's the entirety of what is necessary to be a successful investor. It is absolutely ridiculous, and it shows you the kind of gambling mentality that is pervasive. It's the same thing with monetarism, and every time there's a freaking Fed meeting or a pronouncement by Powell or something, I mean, folks, how many times do I have to go over this? That you need to have an understanding of basic conditions. It's not about one company. It's not about a Fed meeting. It's not really even about Fed policy, other than to understand actually what happens when the Fed adjusts policy, not like these, nincompoops who think that there's only one side of a balance sheet. They don't even understand accounting whenever there's a rate adjustment or something like that, or when the Fed swaps assets in the economy. Anyway, it's just, when I read this stuff, when I see this stuff, it doesn't surprise me why most people, they end up never really making money as investors, or their returns are very limited, or they're frustrated all the time, or I saw it personally. I saw it personally with myself for a large part of my career when I was, speculating as a floor trader. I saw it many times as a floor trader when other guys that I knew down in the pits, they blew out because of this. But you got to stay away from that. And on that note, by the way, on Nvidia, the reason why I don't really comment too much on these things, Nvidia is a great company. It's a leader in its field. It really has no competition right now. I don't need to see a particular earnings report. I know that if that stock goes down to a level, I'm going to buy it, okay, and I'm going to accumulate it, and I am going to hold it. But I'm not sitting there on pins and needles waiting for the earnings report to come out and, I'm going to jump and do something. No. I mean, again, I try to step back. I try to stay above that noise, above the fray, as they say, the 30,000 foot perspective. And I really encourage you to kind of train yourself to do the same thing. There's not one particular report or pronouncement or event that's going to change the big picture macro dynamic. I mean, there's not. So I mean, to get all caught up in these things, that's why whenever there's a Fed meeting, I tell you guys up front, I don't even pay attention to that. I understand the impact of policy. I understand the true impact of policy, not what is put out there, by the monetarists, where they only see a single variable in the equation. I understand the impact of fiscal policy, and that's what I follow. So, I mean, with that, I'm able to have some perspective, and I'm able to provide the big picture. Now, let me mention a guy who obviously has been, spending his entire investing career pretty much with the same mentality that I have, and that guy's name is Warren Buffett. I know I mentioned Buffett's name a lot, but I have to say that I read today, or I saw today, that his company, Berkshire Hathaway, which is basically his investment vehicle, has reached a $1 trillion valuation. That is the only non-technology company in the world that has reached a $1 trillion valuation. And why it is even more impressive is the fact that it's not really an industry. He didn't create any particular industry or product or invention or service. He's a stock investor. He's a stock investor who has applied the winning principles over the majority of his life, and that is, long-term outlook, buy value, accumulate assets. He hardly ever sells. He sells when his stock positions become fully valued or fairly valued. He's always looking for bargains. He has incredible discipline and incredible patience, okay? And again, I often say there's not one single big-time hedge fund guy like the Citadel guy who I've been mentioning a lot recently, and I remember his name today. It's Ken Griffin, whose firm is basically a legal front-running operation. I mean, you talk about a rigged system. I mean, it cannot be more obvious than it is with his firm, where basically he buys order flow from companies like Schwab and TD Ameritrade and these big brokerage firms, and he has his computers set up at the New York Stock Exchange and the data center out there in Illinois, the CME data center, and all they do is they jump in front of orders when they see the orders coming down the pipe, and then they're out like a split second later, a millisecond later, and he does that, his firm does that like millions of times a day. This was an activity that at one time, not too long ago, maybe, 7, 8, 9 years ago, it was, there was a thing in Congress where there was a bill in Congress that attempted to ban this activity because basically it is legalized cheating. I remember when I was a floor trader, jumping in front of customer orders, and remember, I was on the commodities, on the futures exchanges, it wasn't disallowed, it was frowned upon, but then it became illegal, not illegal in a criminal way, but the exchanges did not allow it, all right? So the exchanges did not allow front-running orders. But this guy, Ken Griffin, his firm, by the way, he's bought up massive amounts of property in Miami. He's got like a zillion different homes. Like, how many homes does a person need? How many houses do you need? How many cars do you need? I don't understand this. I'm very happy with my situation. I drive a pickup truck, okay? I drive a beat up pickup truck. Somebody could pull up in front of my house and drop off a brand new Ferrari and say, Mike, here it is, it's yours, you can have it. I wouldn't even want it. I like my truck. I'm sticking with my truck, okay? Like, how many houses do you need? You can only live in one at a time. But this guy's firm, Griffin's firm, is a legal front-running operation. And the reason I bring him up is because as rich as this guy is, he's nowhere near Warren Buffett. And I always try to impress upon you this idea of go slow, patience, perspective, discipline, have the macro understanding. By the way, it was a crazy thunderstorm down here, afternoon thunderstorm down here in Florida. That happens, of course, in the summer. It's Florida. But man, I mean, the lightning and the thunder was crazy. It was popping. It was pouring. It was like a little mini tropical storm. And then what's cool is that it blows over and everything is cool. But you might hear in the background like the crickets and the frogs. I'm kind of like out in the country. So, I mean, I wake up to this in the morning. I hear this in the evenings. It's pretty nice. I got critters running around all over the property. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to say to you guys is like the go slow approach. I know a lot of you, you're looking for that fast play. You're looking for that fast money. I mean, this this also intertwines with what I said before about this wanting to find the one single thing to look at, like Nvidia earnings, where it's actually they're writing articles saying this is the biggest, most important thing in the entire global economy, which is total, complete nonsense. But people want these are complicated ideas. They want them distilled down into one little trick thing that's the only thing that they have to look at. Same thing, I've had experiences with people, or even myself in the early days of my career, dealing with systems. You want to have a system, like the perfect system that works every time. Maybe once in a while you take a little small loss, but it's clean, it's easy, it works by itself. I think you probably have a lot of people now signing up for these kind of robotic trading systems. You know, I see them publicized all over Instagram and all over social media. And, you know, I laugh because a good investor, I'm not even going to say good trader, but a good trader too, but a good investor will run circles around these things. The only ones that work are the ones like Ken Griffin, where you basically have a cheater's edge. Okay, it's like going into I can't even equate it to going into a casino and being like a card counter in blackjack, because that also relies on a certain amount of probability. Okay, where the card counter is putting the probability advantage, even if that's a small percentage, in his favor. Okay, normally the house has an advantage. It could only be a 1% advantage, you know, like the house could have 51% advantage and the player could have a 49%, but that 51% advantage, that 1% or 2% advantage, when multiplied over thousands and thousands of events, that adds up into big money. Okay, you could see, I mean, they spend billions and billions of dollars to build these casinos. And the main place where they make the money, not in the blackjack tables, they make the money on the gaming floor with the slot machines. That's why there's thousands of slot machines in one casino floor. Okay, and those slot machines are engineered to give the house a very small advantage. And then every once in a while, a customer's going to win to keep them, you know, playing. Like they get their hopes up, like, oh, I'm going to win again. I'm going to win the big jackpot. But then they end up pissing away all their money again, okay? Ken Griffin has a system that basically he bought off, or people like him in that industry bought off legislators in Congress to keep that from being illegal. So he has that, okay? I don't begrudge him for that. I don't say, oh, poor me, I'm not able to do that. No, I do my thing. I do my thing, and I'm very happy doing my thing. Okay? I happen to like my analytical approach. I outthink, and that should be obvious by now, I outthink all the big Wall Street analysts and economists. You know, they all got it wrong with monetary policy, where they thought one thing was going to happen and the total opposite thing. That is, and the beauty is that lack of understanding, or that twisted understanding, that's built into their thinking. You know, that's their orthodoxy, that's their institutional thinking, that's built in, that's not going to go away. I mean, if you don't understand now that it's not going to go away, with all the evidence that they have right in front of their noses that their view, their understanding is wrong, and they keep doing the same thing, they keep doubling down and tripling down and quadrupling down on the same thing. If you think they're going to change, but I don't want them to change. And you shouldn't want them to change, because that factors into our own success. To be able to kind of like fly over everything at 30,000 feet, have the perspective, not get ulcers sitting on my chair, looking at the screen every 2 seconds, like what's Powell gonna say? What's the Nvidia earnings gonna look like? Believe me, Warren Buffett's not doing that. He built it's amazing. I find it, I don't know what you think, but I find it to be amazing. I find it to be amazing. This guy built $1 trillion enterprise, not doing anything other than investing in stocks. I mean, it's mind-blowing. This is not new tech, and he didn't do it in some high-tech way. Buy value, hold, accumulate assets over time. Yeah, he's an old guy. He's in his 90s, but this is what I'm saying. You know, the younger you can start this, the greater the chances. I wouldn't even say the chances. You will accumulate a fortune. It's about time. I've always said, because people say, oh, you know, your timing is no good or this and that. It's not about timing. It's about time. Time makes you rich, not timing. You know, anyone who's ever done well as an investor will tell you that it's wrong to try to time the market. I mean, Charlie Munger, who used to be the partner of Warren Buffett, he used to say that all the time. Don't try to time the market. You buy things when there's value. And the thing that I put into the equation, which I think I'm above Buffett, at least in this understanding. I'm not above, obviously not above Buffett in terms of his wealth. And believe me, I got into this or I got hip to this when I was already kind of old, all right? If I was operating like I am now when I started out in my 20s, you know, that's a lot more time than I would have had. But, you know, it's never too late. Let me say that. It's never too late. But what I have over Buffett is the MMT understanding. The real, because I see him sometimes saying the same things that a lot of these other jokers say about, you know, the debt is going to bring us down and and all this stuff. So this idea of patience, of discipline, of buying value, and also having that understanding, the correct and the concise understanding of how the monetary system functions, that is a great, great advantage. And that's why I'm here trying to teach you guys this. By the way, I forgot again, please like and subscribe if you choose to. If you've already done that, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And don't forget, go to my website, pitbulleconomics.com. Sign up for a 30-day free trial to MMT Trader. See you tomorrow. Bye.